Welcome to the second lecture in our course on the art of winning proposals, where we'll be looking at the procurement process. We've mentioned that RFPs are sometimes privately conducted. There is a difference between open RFPs and closed RFPs. All government RFPs are open, publicly offered. Some businesses also take this route, but usually they conduct their own research to find appropriate vendors. In closed RFPs, companies seek out vendors through market research. This is why it's important to have alluring, transparent data on your business's history in the industry, either with social media or RFP database sites. Another way to get on the radar is to directly introduce yourself, either to companies or brokers. If you know the major players in your industry, build some rapport with them on a general basis. If you do this, be sure to be brief and research the mission and vision of the company. Get to know the company culture, what they value, and what they might be looking for project-wise. In Lecture 7, we'll delve more into why this can be a make or break with some companies. Companies also employ consultants or brokers to procure proposals for their RFPs. Most of the time, when vendors look promising, an RFQ or RFI is issued. This is usually done before the actual RFP is drafted. Let's look at both of these. An RFQ is a request for qualifications. Governments and businesses use these to see if a company actually has what it takes to fulfill the upcoming RFP needs. This also helps them draft an RFP after getting the responses. Being creative, insightful, and focusing on unique opportunities for value from your company might open the company or broker's eyes to what they didn't know they wanted, giving you a huge advantage. A request for qualifications will include primary contact, project description, ideal outcome, project scope, and the next steps. Timeline for responses, evaluation considerations, instructions for submission, questions to validate qualifications, and the terms of the contract. When responding, try to avoid simple yes or no answers. Expand on what is unique and be succinct and clear. An RFI is a request for information. Oftentimes, this is used because the entity wants to draft an RFP to solve some problem, but they don't know how exactly. They rely on companies to be the experts so they can come to solid ideas and release an RFP. If your RFI is impressive enough, an RFP may become a mere formality to follow up with specifics on prior promises. Requests for information are a lot more vague than RFPs. They involve trawling multiple companies to get an idea of possible solutions. These responses give them an idea of what they're looking for when they don't initially know it. As a vendor, these are immense opportunities to proffer any and all solutions, especially creative ones. RFIs usually ask for a statement of what's needed, the background on their organization, qualifications they're looking for, information they want to get from you, evaluation criteria for vendor candidates, and time to respond. If the document is missing any of these aspects, think about whether providing it without being prompted could convey the value your organization has to offer. Take a step forward and provide it for them in your response, unsolicited. When the issuing company evaluates the RFQ or RFI respondents, they'll draft a formal RFP. The RFP is usually much more time sensitive. Another good thing about RFIs and RFQs is that you can begin working on them early to avoid crunch time. In this lecture, we looked at the proposal process, and we defined the uses of RFPs, RFQs, and RFIs. Your exercise for this lecture is to download and complete the Procurement Process Part 1 worksheet to start thinking about how to capitalize on these procurement documents. We'll see you in the next lecture.